The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contest, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
All right. It is time to talk about The Walking Dead. One of my favorite things to talk about.
Yeah, dude. Another good episode.
Another good episode. I think season 10 is off to an awesome start.
It is, dude. So much to talk about, man. Freaking Negan, doing his Negan thing. Ezekiel making the craziest play to get some butt I've ever seen.
And from what we hear, he's not a bad kisser.
Yeah, so that's good to know, too.
I'm going to tell you, it's so much to like about this season. I'll tell you, I'm doing something this season, and I did it last season that I haven't done in the last couple of years, and that's I'm going back and rewatching episodes because I want to. You know, back in the old Walking Dead days, like I'm talking like seasons 1 through probably 4, maybe 5, I would go back and rewatch episodes because I just liked it so much. And I hadn't really done that in the last few years. But the last season and this one, I enjoy so much. I'm going back and rewatching because there's actually kind of like Game of Thrones in a way. Mm-hmm. There's so much happening. You kind of need to watch it more than once.
Yeah, dude, a whole lot going on right now, man. And one thing I was happy about, I thought it was going to be isolated to the hilltop. But nah, we still got a taste of Alexandria. Yes. Taste of the Hilltop, all this stuff.
Yes, and this episode was directed by Michael Cutlitz, the guy that played Abraham. Yeah, man, so cool to see him back in some capacity. Hopefully, maybe he'll put himself in there as a flashback or something one day, with especially with everything going on with Rosita and Eugene. Maybe it would be so cool if he was just like a image in her head to give her advice or something,
Yeah, or like if Eugene finally gets on top of that, like Abraham's a voice in his head, like, no, that ain't what she wants, brother.
You got to turn her over, brother.
Yeah, you've seen me do it. You know what to do.
That would be funny if he was like in the corner of the room the first time Eugene and Rosita hooked up, and he's like, "Come on, Eugene. As many times as you watch me do this, you know the drill. Yeah. That ain't what she likes."
Yeah.
I don't imagine there would be with Eugene. I don't imagine his first time with Rosita though. There would be enough time to really need coaching. It'd probably be over before it began.
He's gonna blow that smokestack real quick.
That metaphorical load.
Yeah. I wish I was as quippy as Eugene. I wonder what he would say at the point of climax. It'd be something crazy.
I actually now, no kidding, not to be too dirty, but I would really love to hear that. I don't know, man. I don't know that they'll ever go that route, but I would love to have somebody maybe in another room and you just hear him yell out, something insane.
Oh, my Lord. There's no getting that toothpaste back in the I don't know, man. I'm no Eugene.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm sure I could come up with something by the end.
Yeah, in the comments section, let us know what you think Eugene will say when he climaxes if he ever gets that Rosita butt.
Exactly. Yeah, I really do want to know.
Because I can't figure it out.
So many cool moments in this show. We saw little Judith being a badass, and it was kind of on the nose and a little cheesy, but it was still heartwarming and awesome when she was sitting there sword fighting beside Michonne. Kind of reminiscent back to, season 4, I think, where all the walkers start breaking down one of the fences at the prison, and Rick and Carl are out there. And it's one of the first times Rick really kind of lets Carl stretch his legs in terms of zombie slaying, and Rick kind of gives him this look like, damn, I mean, he's pretty legit.
It was dope, yeah.
And we had that moment between Michonne and Judith.
Yeah, man. So with the breach, you think that tree falling was just like natural disaster kind of stuff? No, you think
it's the Whisperers. I think that they're playing some kind of long game. And you know what? Actually, now I think we had said I think Corey Andros, one of our listeners, asked us in mail call if we thought it was the Whisperers doing all of this. And I think with last week we were like, no. Now I'm thinking it is. I think this is still a long game for Alpha to get a daughter back.
Yeah. One thing I can say though, man, it's not like a stealthy operation, like sawing down a big-ass tree right next to somebody's wall, That's something that's going to make some noise and it's going to be a little bit noticeable, I would imagine, especially with no power tools, that's quite a feat.
They started on it like the night before.
Right.
Well, unless Beta's big ass was out there, then he's probably wearing down on that thing. Yeah. But now I'm starting to think it's some long game to get Lydia back, because we've seen that losing her daughter is really messed Alpha up. I mean, it's even more so than the comics. In the comics, it wasn't. I mean, she was definitely upset more so when confiding in Negan, but, she really didn't let it show as much. We saw her crying, and she killed that that Whisperer for seeing her crying, and I'm talking comics now, but, in the show, I feel, excuse me, I feel like the show's focusing way more on the way she's dealing with losing her daughter to those people versus the comic. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's more of more of a motivational point for her in the show than it was necessarily in the comics.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I haven't read that story arc in a while, so I might go back and be like, oh no, it's a lot more Lydia driving her than I thought it was.
Right. It's crazy. I mean, she really is like a bizarro Carol, like a mirror universe Carol, just that dark reflection,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, absolutely. And let's see, looking in this up, we see more Sadiq PTSD. I really feel like we're going to find out more to that story. I feel like that it's not as simple as he's just racked with survivor's guilt. I'm really starting to think that perhaps we're going to find that Alpha made him do something screwed up. Mm-hmm. And that's really, I'm not saying, because I do know that people do go through survivor's guilt and PTSD and such in the same way that he is from surviving something so horrific, but I don't know. It's The Walking Dead. I just feel like there's going to be more to that.
Oh, for sure, man. And speaking of going through stuff, man, how about Ezekiel? I mean, he's going to off himself in one of the worst ways you can do it. I mean, just jumping off something.
That was it makes me so sad watching the conversation between Ezekiel and Michonne makes me so sad to lose Michonne, because it kind of reinforces why we love her so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And that's what sucks about it taking a few seasons for the show to get back on track post Scott Gimple,
These people probably jumped ship, started working on jumping ship a season or two ago, and it's now coming to fruition, but sadly, now the show's turning around.
Yeah, which I think they can keep the quality up, And man, how could we start this podcast off without mentioning the hot lesbian act?
I was
off, dude.
I knew.
Jeez, what am I thinking?
I was thinking about it, and I thought it would be the first thing you brought up, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait and see how long it took you. It took you 7 minutes.
Yeah,
to bring up the lesbian sex scene.
I started thinking about Michonne's fine ass walking up to Ezekiel, and then I was like, fine ass, two fine asses. Lesbians, beginning of the episode, that was super hot.
So are we getting a blueprint of the inner workings of how your mind functions?
Yeah. I don't know why it wasn't on top of my mind when we first started, but yeah, dude, that was a hot scene, man.
It was. And we find that, which maybe it was mentioned before, and if it was, forgive me for not recollecting, but that Yumiko was Magna's lawyer. And we know Magna was in trouble a lot, so I wonder if it's just one of those things where, I'm wondering how old Magna's supposed to be in the show.
I don't know, man, but she's got a banging body. No, there's no doubt about that.
Oh, she's beautiful. Both of them are very, very beautiful ladies. But yeah, it was like I said, thinking about, again, going back to Michonne. We'll get back to the lesbian sex here in a minute, but going back to Michonne, man.
Okay.
Denai Guerrero is just such a likable person as far as the way she plays Michonne. I love how multi-dimensional she is, how she can be so warm and real with Ezekiel, but then when you see her in that leader role, she's stone cold. And when you see her out on the battlefield, you don't want to cross paths with her, but then she can sit down with Ezekiel and just be so almost motherly,
Yeah.
And warm. Side note, let me tell you how much I have, and there's a language warning coming. If you've got kids sitting with you, we don't normally curse.
Yeah, but we've got a few listeners with a few kids.
Yeah, we don't normally curse. We do curse on the mail call and some others, but we don't normally curse on The Walking Dead. But here it comes. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Man, fuck Aaron.
Oh, man.
Fuck Aaron. All right, I'm done with the cursing.
Okay.
But seriously, man, screw that dude. Like, I understand where Aaron's coming from. Oh, Eric died. I get it. But everybody sitting around you lost someone to Negan. Mm-hmm. Everybody did. Friends, family, loved ones. Negan just saved his life last episode, and here Aaron is adamant that we need to execute him.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Screw you, you little bitch. And on top of that, he watched those kids bully Lydia. Mm-hmm. Didn't say a damn word about it. And Aaron, up until this episode, Aaron's been one of my favorites post-Rick.
Sure.
Right now, Aaron's sliding his stupid ass on down the hill. You know she's being bullied. Like, you know that's going on. Number one, you haven't interjected yourself one bit, and I understand, I don't want to make things worse. Screw that. You see someone getting bullied, you do something. Now, I'm not saying you run in there and smash their head on a cement wall and kill them.
Yeah.
But you see someone, that's real life. You see someone getting bullied, you do something about it. Even if it's just breaking up the conversation and sending them their different ways. That's what you do. And Aaron, I mean, I know he was like, guys, get back to your training. That's not, you didn't address anything, man. And then on top of that, Negan could have smashed your freaking skull in last episode, and no one would have been none the wiser. He could have escaped, been home free, and your brains could have been all over that place. However, he kept you alive. He stood guard and got you home. Like, again, back with the language, 3, 2, 1. Man, fuck Aaron.
Yeah, man, I
just really, that got me heated, man.
Yeah.
I was like, what a douchebag. Like, I could see Father Gabriel voting to do it and Aaron being the one to have the change of heart. I mean, you got Michonne and Daryl voting to keep him alive, and
man, Negan made Daryl eat dog food and do God knows what else, mop floors, and even Daryl's coming out for him.
Killed Glenn right in front of him. I mean, along with Abraham. I mean, like, no, which Aaron was actually there for that too. But I mean, still, Daryl had been with those guys a lot longer. Mm-hmm. But no, Aaron and I'm sure someone will go in the comments to defend Aaron, and that's fine. I want to hear the defense. But the thing is, like, no, man, of all the people there. We just had an entire episode where Negan saved Aaron's life, essentially, when he could have turned his back on him and killed him. I mean, he could have smashed Aaron. Aaron really pushed him, too, talking about Lucille and, just all of that. And Negan not only didn't kill him, but he saved his life. And I understand someone would be like, you got to remember all the things he did. I get that. But we're clearly they're trying to move past that. It's been, like 6, 7 years at this point? Like, not saying you have to forgive, but you can see clearly this man has had opportunities to revert to his old ways and has refused to do so.
Yeah, man, I could understand a little bit more Aaron not caring what happens to Lydia because he, just lost Jesus to the Whisperers.
Right.
And she used to be a Whisperer. But, yeah, I mean, Negan, that's like years in the past, And
I mean, like I said, I understand you don't want to forget or forgive it, but at the end of the day, clearly this guy is... I mean, you owe him your life, essentially, because, I mean, he could have just left you out there blind. Yeah. And I mean, I know at first he kind of did. He went into the house. But then from that point on, he saved Aaron and stood guard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he just saw Aaron with the knife and was like, I don't want to be hanging out with some blind dude swinging a knife around.
Always good stance to take.
But, yeah, I was really pissed at Aaron this episode. And otherwise, I've always loved Aaron. He's always been a very underrated character, I've felt. But on this, and I'm not saying going forward, that might change. But for this particular episode, man, screw you, Aaron.
Well, I feel like they've always got to have, a heel within the group, and that's definitely Aaron this season.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, so the thing is, though, Lydia took responsibility for letting Negan out, but she didn't.
She's not the one who did it.
And I think we both know who did, which actually, if you watch the scenes from next week's episode, you definitely do.
Right.
But I'm thinking of a part of the comics. Are you recollecting what I'm thinking
dude,
of?
I can totally see where this is going. At least I hope they keep it that way, even though if it goes down like it did in the comics, now I'm not throwing out any spoilers, that is kind of a step backwards as far as Negan's, character progression,
Well, in a way, because, all right, slight comic spoilers, but nothing too huge.
Right,
in 3, 2, 1.
If it's going to come out, you throw it out, man. I'm not throwing it out.
Oh, I'll throw it out.
Okay,
I mean,
throw it out.
This part happened, years ago?
Yeah.
Get with it, man. Read the comics already. Damn. Some people are like, I'm waiting until the show ends. Why? The comics have ended now. Just read them or either get used to spoilers. You've got a few months with spoilers, but I mean, after it becomes years. Anyways, I'm ranting. So basically, the reason why the person who let Negan out, let him out in the comics was because he wanted Negan essentially to help him do harm to someone. Yeah. And that's why Negan killed him. So I feel like if in the show, if Negan's let out by this person and this person wants Negan to help them enact revenge or to hurt someone specifically, like Lydia, like that person, it's probably, I'm thinking it's, from the things, I mean, the scenes from next week, it's one of those, I think it's one of those people that was attacking Lydia.
Yeah, I think so, because since we're in the comic a little bit, they, the kid wanted Negan to get the Whisperers to, help him attack Rick and take over the Alexandria, yes.
See, I was keeping it a little bit more vague than that, but you're right. And I feel like in the show, the person that let Negan out is going to want Negan to help them to maybe go find the Whisperers to come back. They're going to. I think Negan is going to kill him, just like he did in the comic, but I think that it's going to be a justified kill because he's killing that person to save others. It's not like he just killed him and was like, haha, I love killing. Goodbye.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie, man. I didn't recognize the character that was tagging along with Negan after the escape. Do you know who that was exactly?
Not exactly. I thought because I was actually once it had ended, I got up and was doing something, and I turned back around. It's like every week I forget that there's going to be scenes from next week, but I think it was one of the kids that helped attack Lydia.
Okay, because the cast has gotten so big. But
which is stupid. Like he just came in and whooped all your asses.
Right.
I was that fight scene was done so well because it had me cringing. Like you just wanted to jump through your TV and just kick their asses. And I'm telling you, man, I've got this new excitement for this show. Like when I was just like yelling when Negan come running threw the girl against the wall and ultimately smashed her skull.
Yeah, well, it happens.
And then, I love that dude. I loved it. Then just everything, his acting when they saw the girl was dead and he goes, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude, we've been saying we wanted more Negan action and we are getting it.
Yeah. For any diehard Sopranos fans out there like me, it really reminded me of the scene with Ralph Cifaretto and the stripper outside of the Bing, but I'll leave it at that, man. But since we're talking about the comic book, dude, there was a cool little like Easter egg when Michonne was talking to Ezekiel. I hate to, jump around, but when she was like, it would never work. Maybe in a different universe, different universe, comic universe. I was like, oh,
yeah. Because of course, yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like I said, I liked everything about this episode. I like Judith becoming a little bad, which we knew she was a badass, but like actually getting her to see out there, her with the sword out there, just like hacking zombies up, and she was quick with it too, man. Just.
Yeah, man, I think that's definitely more believable than her with the freaking hand cannon, like sniping zombies at like 100 feet or whatever.
I'm truly hoping that because 357 Magnum, you can take and put 38 Special and shoot it through.
Yeah.
But the opposite's not true. So if you have a 38 Special, I wouldn't advise putting 357 Magnums in that. But if you have a 357 Magnum that's reinforced and able to handle rounds that big, you can put a 38 Special into the chamber. I'm truly hoping that Judith was shooting 38 Specials through that and not 357 Magnums.
Let's hope.
Granted, a 6-inch barrel will help the recoil and keep it from jumping. I just feel like that's too much gun for such a little girl. And what's bad is I'm truly thinking they've forgotten what they have because we've heard Shane in season 1 call it a Python. Colt Python. It's an iconic gun. It's 357. The Colt Anaconda is the 44 Magnum version of that gun. And, of course, the 44 Magnum is a much bigger round, than a 357. And back in season 5, when Rick is in Terminus, would that be? Yeah, season 5 is where it started out with them in Terminus. So in season 5, in the premiere, I believe it is, when they've buried that bag of guns and they're asking him like, "What's in there?" And he's like, "So and so, 44 Magnum, a hatchet with a red handle." So, like they've made several references that have made me think that they're referring to Rick's gun as a 44 mag when it's actually, if it's a Python, then it's a 3. But anyways, I digress. But what I'm saying is, if it's a 44 Magnum, it ain't no way in hell Judith is shooting that thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was cool to see her with the. I'm sorry for going so far. Please forgive me, JP.
No, I like it when you go far, man.
You like that?
I like it. I like it a whole lot.
But yeah, so I loved seeing Judith as a badass. So there's love in the air with Luke, which is probably not going to be a good thing. I'm sure they're going to get to Oceanside and they're just decimated, and that girl that Luke's got a crush on is dead.
Yeah. And like I've been saying for a while, we need to thin the herd as far as this huge, expansive cast. I mean, they're doing a good job with juggling all the storylines, but I wouldn't be mad at seeing, a group just get decimated. And the only like qualm I really had with the episode, we've, at the start when they're flooding into the hilltop, they've got, you got this horde of walkers. I would have liked to have seen at least one person just get ripped apart and eaten,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we have this huge zombie battle scene. At least have like a red shirt, have somebody just get eaten alive.
Well, there's got to be some real, loss with it.
Just
now, all right, question. This might be all right. See, what I was doing is I was watching the episode, and I'm going to go back and rewatch it. But I have a baby, so I got a little distracted at one point. Did Ezekiel leave? So the tree fell, but zombies obviously didn't immediately get in. So Ezekiel left. That was in order, right? That wasn't like Ezekiel went to kill himself, came back, and the tree fell. Like the tree fell, and then he left to go off himself, right?
Yes.
So he was just like, I don't feel like dealing with this tree. I'm just going to go jump off a bridge.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to get out of the yard work.
They were like, Ezekiel, you're on tree duty. Grab his chainsaw. Well, I'm gonna go jump off a bridge. No, he was probably like, I'd rather jump off a bridge. And somebody was like, yeah, we'll do it then. All right, I will. I like that he's kind of dropped his accent to an extent, with at least with certain people. You get to see the real guy behind the king facade.
Man, I think what got him so depressed was he heard the hot lesbian action in the room next door, and he was just like, man, I'm not getting my nut off at all anymore.
Why, oh, why will they not bring this to the Barn of Pleasures?
Yeah, for real.
I've invited them both for years, and they refuse to join Shiva and I.
It's like for the first time, I felt like the Walking Dead writers were listening to us. They'd heard about the Barn of Pleasures, and this was going to be like the dawn of it. You know, that room doesn't fit enough of them, so... You know, it just spawns and spawns.
There's room in the barn. If you're new to the podcast, because we know that we do have new listeners pop in, the Barn of Pleasures is an ongoing thing we've got where we were so bored with Fear the Walking Dead that we've started creating this very, very odd and sporadic fan fiction / erotica.
Yeah.
That just is a testament to how boring this season of Fear the Walking Dead was. But it's pretty good. If you get a chance to subscribe to our channel or maybe go back and look at other things, you might. If you go to YouTube, if you're listening on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, I think it only keeps a certain amount of episodes. But you can head over to YouTube and find our channel and go back and listen to every podcast we've ever done. But the Barn of Pleasures is just this barn that's run by Ezekiel, where basically the Walking Dead cast just has really weird and kinky sex with each other.
We need to just make that a podcast into itself.
Like a weekly thing?
Yeah.
This week on the Barn of Pleasures.
God, I think it might get a little weird, though. Just you and I just acting out sex.
Just imagine like someone else walks into the studio and we've gotten too into it. And it's like, do you like that, Jerry? And you're like, yeah, dude, yeah. Somebody walks around the corner. It's like, yeah. Hey, what are you guys doing? Gay stuff.
Yeah, we're just so immersed in character. Hello, sales rep Gretchen. Come in here to the Barn of Pleasure.
You're just ashamed that you're making erotic fan fiction, and somebody's like, "What are you and JP doing?" We're having sex.
Yeah. Only on the mics, though.
Only, like, we're not.
I mean, shoot, last mail call, our friend Julius, threatened to put a mic up my ass.
He did.
Maybe I should have taken him up on it.
That was a good one, too. If you've been around our channel for a while, you should definitely go check our last mail call if you hadn't heard it. We had special guest Julius, and, man, he was on another level.
I think there's going to be a demand for a lot more Julius. He's kind of like our Eugene, He's
In a way, yeah.
He's eccentric. He's out there. He's tech savvy. I think he would be Eugene in our Walking Dead.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I always thought that the guy that we used to have on the podcast, Matt, would be our Eugene.
Yeah.
And I think he even admitted that he thought he would be our Eugene as well. But
he
I could see.
would be, if he were still around, he might would be Luke at this point. Like the music teacher. Did I get his name wrong?
Maybe, yeah. I like when Luke showed Eugene. There's too many E's.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But I like when he showed Eugene that Eugene's not the only intelligent one there. You know what I'm saying? Like hyper intelligent. Like he said something, and then Luke's like cockroach family, and Eugene kind of looks at him like, "How do you know?" He's like, I really like Luke. I'm scared. I really am hoping more so that if somebody's going to die, they get to the ocean side and it's Luke's girlfriend that's dead. Though I would love for him to have love. I don't want to lose Luke. Of the cast that does need to be trimmed, and I do admit, I agree. I mean, they're doing a great job, but even Game of Thrones trimmed its cast. I mean, they had a huge cast of characters, but that was a thing on Game of Thrones. No one really had job security. They would kill you. So, I mean, you got to start taking some people out, man. I mean, between all these communities we've got, but I do want Luke to make it. I want Luke to stay in at least for a while. I'm enjoying Luke.
I want some more sporadic, like a Tyrese kind of death. Like you don't see it coming. It's not a big episode.
Or like Herschel. I always use Herschel getting bitten in season 3 as an example of like prime Walking Dead. I mean, I think that was actually a premiere. And it's like they're walking through and just out of nowhere, Herschel gets bitten, and you're like, oh, man. Or Dale's death. Just things that you don't really, they just happen. I mean, like you said, something sporadic. Now, that is something that's still kind of missing from The Walking Dead that we need. But they need to be careful with who they kill. I feel like we always demand death, but then when they kill someone, we're always not happy with who they chose to kill.
Yeah. Did you catch enough of the Talking Dead to see Chris Hardwick in his Dale outfit.
I did, man. I did. That was really good. I think. And then you had you had Lydia as Negan.
Yeah, dude, that was super hot. How old is she?
I don't know
if
she's old enough.
After her,
I don't know. My girlfriend and I were having that same conversation because my girlfriend was like, "She's really cute," and I said, "Yeah, she's hot." And she was like, "I don't think she's old enough that you can say that." I said, "I imagine she was in like her early 20s."
That's what I'm thinking.
And she's like, "No, I think she's." And it was weird as my girlfriend could not find her date of birth on the internet. Now my girlfriend's not the best at researching things on the internet, but she looked on like IMDb and other things. And
it's one of those things. I feel a little bit creepy lusting after the character she plays, but the actress herself, man, I think she's fair game. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think she's in her early 20s. I mean, if we're wrong, then we take it back. She's a very pretty young lady. It's like, yeah, we'll go.
As long as she's at least 18, I'll stick to my creepiness.
But then you had Michael Cutlitz as Abraham, pretty much, and then
he's looking good as hell.
I can't think of the guy's name, but homeboy from Breaking Bad and The Office.
Badger. I don't know his real name either, but yeah, he was a good little addition
with his really unique voice. He was really funny on there.
Yeah, man. I hate that now. What all he's doing now is like some ABC like family show or something like that. Man,
wasted talent.
Yeah, dude. It always hurts me a little bit because a lot of the Breaking Bad cast just ended up on like network TV, and I know the paydays are better, but just it can't be as fulfilling. You go from like one of the best dramas of all time to something like whatever he's on.
Right. Yeah, I could agree with that. But yeah, he was a great addition to the. I still say one of my favorite Talking Deads was the one with Conan O'Brien on it. That one,
dude, I never saw that.
Dude, you need to look that up. Conan's just so witty and funny. I just think Conan is the host that if I was to pick, I do a radio show and as do you, and we do a podcast. If I was to pick a host that I would most want to be like, it would definitely be Conan.
Man, I grew up watching Conan. Love Conan.
I think he's so funny and witty. But man, him on The Talking Dead was freaking hilarious. But no, this guy Badger was really, really good on there as well. I felt like he kind of would have been you with a lot of ways. You know?
Probably.
But did you? They had an interesting poll. Did you agree with Negan, or was it Negan or Aaron?
I know there was one poll where it was like, what is Negan going to do? Like, join the Whisperers, restart the Sanctuary, which is ridiculous.
He's already been there.
Yeah, and who's even left to, like, be a savior? And I can't remember what the third option was.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I definitely hope that we get the storyline that we get from the comic. I think we're headed there, right?
I was going to say, I'm not, now this is a big spoiler, I'm not throwing out, but do you think he's going to come home with kind of like...
the same thing in his hand?
Yeah, like the same prize he got in the comic, because I find it harder to see it going down like that, but
I do. I think they're still going to go that route. Yeah. Well, yeah. We're going to discuss this off mic just because I don't want to spoil it for anybody reading comics. But I do think we'll go that route.
I wasn't going to throw out,
and I'll tell you why when we get off the mic. Just because what we need to do is have which I mean, we really don't have the time for it. That's why we've had to scale back the 4 or 5 podcasts a week, because we really don't have the time for it doing radio full time. One day, maybe if our Patreon blows up enough, we can leave radio and make this full time, and then I promise you'll have a podcast Monday through Friday, my friend.
One good thing lately though is we are doing one Patreon exclusive podcast a week.
Absolutely,
so we're still doing about 4 a week. I mean, The Walking Dead, the Patreon podcast, whatever we decide to pull out of our ass on Wednesdays, and then Mail Call Thursdays.
And we're going to start doing a monthly giveaway for the Patreon.
Yes,
so
we are.
Definitely more incentives, and we're sorry it's taken a while, but we haven't taken any money out of it. We've let it build because we want to get you guys merch. We're just having a little hold up with the logo and getting everything kind of finalized, but it'll get there. But no, we'll discuss that after the pod. But I almost feel like if we had time, I would love to make a comic and show spoiler filled, like basically a podcast for people who either have read the comic or don't mind the comic being spoiled.
Yeah, dude, like a page to panel podcast.
Right, yeah.
I don't think we could use that because I think AMC actually has done that on their website or something, or skybound.com. But yeah, like a page to panel. Oh, dude, I'd be into that.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to, because I do think it's going to go down the same way, but I'll tell you why after this. But let me think. I mean, so much happening. I know it's like, we're only not even 30 minutes into this podcast, and I'm just, it's so much happening. It's like, where do we get back into?
Yeah, dude, I think we rounded out the episode pretty good. Negan's on the loose.
I felt so bad for him, man. Like, he throws the girl into the wall. I mean, who could have known that throwing someone that way? I mean, and my girlfriend, it was funny because my girlfriend was like, that couldn't really. I was like, actually, more often than not, yeah, you probably wouldn't die. But people have died from really.
That happens, yeah.
You know, like just bumping their head into a corner or into the wall. And I mean, Negan, slung her ass. So
it was a great line of dialogue though. Towards the end with him and Daryl, like I'm just a sucker. I bought into your whole way of life, and now you're ready to string me up.
For doing the right thing.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
The second, damsel in distress he saved. First Judith and now Lydia.
That's why I'm saying Aaron is a douche on this episode, man. Like, she's been bullied. Negan's not lying about this, and I understand probably what they're going to spin it as. Aaron's more concerned with making people feel safe and that there's justice. Screw that. You're one of the leaders of this place, man. Sack up and be a damn leader. Like, tell these people, no, I've personally witnessed these people bullying Lydia. I know it's been happening. We've got witnesses. Lydia herself, Daryl knows that she's been bullied. We know that Negan, this was unintentional and unfortunate. But, screw that, dude. I mean, I understand giving the people what they want, but at some point, if you're in power, you got to be in power.
You think they're making Aaron a dick because he's going to exit the show at some point this season?
I hope not. I mean, again, even though he's a dick, I still like him. I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Which I guess it usually is the moral compass who gets, bites the dust. So
I was thinking kind of Gabriel, but
yeah, I mean most of the characters right now have their head screwed on right. I mean, Carol's a little screwed up, and she ain't going crazy.
No.
Let's go with him. That speech should be doing a lot better, but I guess she's out of that now. So. Oh
yeah, I mean, and Lydia too. How about that squirrel, man?
Oh yeah, dude, that was great.
That was a great scene, man. She's a good actress. That the girl playing Lydia, and forgive me for not knowing her name, but she's a great actress. I could definitely see her having a bright future as far as her acting. I mean, to see her in real life and how giddy she is and how kind of silly she is, but then how well she plays Lydia, basically a feral young girl who's been raised in the wild pretty much. It's pretty impressive. I mean, she's a great, and like I said, I feel like Lydia's a very believable character. I don't, she's a great actress. She needs
to get a little bit better with the stick. I feel like Morgan or even Henry might have, like whoop their asses with that stick. Those three people. But
it's like somebody on the writing staff is butthurt that Morgan had to exit the show, and they're like, "No, by God, we are going to keep someone wielding a stick in this show because
we're going to have a Donatello."
We had Morgan, then we had Benjamin, then we had Henry, and now we got Lydia. I mean, how many stick-wielding badasses do we need? That's probably one of, and it's a very nitpicky complaint. So, I mean, I'm not at all saying it takes away from the overall quality of the show. But, I mean, that's something with me. It's like, really? I mean, I get that Lydia's honoring Henry, whatever, man. But why must there always be somebody wielding a stick?
Yeah.
Why couldn't Lydia just, I mean, she's used to knives and stuff, is what they've used her whole time as a whisperer. Why can't she just have a really big machete or something? Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, liking her. Is there anything else? Because I feel like that we're leaving stuff out. And I know that we are. I mean, it's an hour-long episode. That's 30 minutes we've been talking about it. But I mean, I feel like we've hit on all the big parts.
Yeah, man. The flood of walkers after the tree fell. We still got to figure out if that was just something that happened or if the Whisperers did it.
I feel like in the previews from next episode, we hear basically Alpha, some people might even say confirm that it's been them talking about these things take time or, something to that effect, insinuating maybe she's playing like the long game, like doing little things, basically weakening them to the point that when they do attack, maybe what she wants to do is she does want to take them out, but she doesn't want to have to use her horde. Mm-hmm. She's trying to take them out and
wear them down.
That would be genius. Put yourself in Alpha's spot. You want to take these people out. But you don't want to use your horde. Number one, you've got them all nestled away, and then you got to bring them out, and then you're going to lose some of them, and yada, yada, yada. You don't want to – you have a nuke. You don't want to waste your nuke. No, instead what she's doing is little by little taking them out so that if they were to attack – and she probably thinks that they're thinking, well, if it was Alpha, she'd just unleash the horde.
Yeah.
And Alpha might know that they're thinking that way. Alpha might be sitting back going, they know I've got a nuke. And in their minds, they probably think this can't be Alpha because if it was Alpha and she wanted us dead, she would just unleash her nuke. So now I can do these little things to wear them down slowly without using my nuke. and be completely scot-free.
Not to mention, you've got like 3 spread out communities, so you use it all in one shot. I mean,
Well, that agreement they signed last season, you attack one, you attacked all. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you pick a fight with one community, it's now going to be all 3 communities. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she probably does realize that while they do have the final blow with the horde. I mean, if they weren't able to use that or got caught off guard, I mean, really, all 3 communities could probably destroy their ass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know. I love the Whisperers as villains, though. I think this is one of the best justice being done to a comic character or villain, at least, from page to screen in The Walking Dead's history. I mean, of course, we love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but I mean, looking at the comic, I just feel like, I like this Negan a lot. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan does great, but it's still not what I envision as Negan.
Yeah, I even saw in a recent interview, he said he felt like the first 2 seasons on the show, he was like super one-dimensional, and they're finally exploring who he is as a character.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He's kind of like that really cool uncle.
Yeah.
And then, the governor. I love the governor, but I mean, page to screen, it's like, I mean, he's crazy, but I don't know. I feel like of all the villains in the comic, when I imagined the Whisperers transferring to screen, I feel like this is probably the closest to how I imagined it.
Yeah, same here. You think they're setting Ezekiel up for like some tragic, heroic death?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Ezekiel's going to die.
You think he'll bite the dust this season?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that happen. I think he's on the chopping block for sure. Aaron probably.
Do you think Michonne is going to die or she's going to leave?
Man, I mean, they've got to use her in the Rick movies. I don't think I think she's going to catch wind of the common or whatever this big helicopter sporting community is, and I think she's going to go looking for Rick.
I think maybe she might trade places with Maggie. I kind of feel like Maggie's return will be how Michonne exits. Like, for instance, maybe Maggie comes back. She's been gone, which, I mean, God, she's been gone for years at this point. Like, what a terrible leader, which I know she left Jesus ahead, but he died. And Tara lost her head. And so, but I don't know. I feel like maybe Maggie will come back and will tell Michonne all about it and whatever. And maybe Michonne's going to take, which I'm not really ready to lose Judith yet, though. But I feel like Michonne's going to go in Maggie's place or something. Like, they need a strong, maybe like the comic. They're looking for people with law backgrounds, which then again, Yumiko's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I feel like that's going to be Maggie's return is going to set up for Michonne's exit. Perhaps Michonne's going to go back where Maggie was. Something. I don't know. Something's going to entice her to go.
Yeah, it's got to be something big, though, because she's leaving 2 kids behind.
Right.
I mean, so.
If she leaves them behind, she might take them with her, man. Yeah. You don't know.
I don't know, man.
You don't know. So I don't know if maybe Rick's going to wind up at that. Maybe Rick winds up at that community. But then again, I don't imagine a time where Rick could be told. I don't imagine Rick not getting back to them.
Mm-hmm. One thing I am happy with, it's not like with Rick leaving, like 2 more episodes before Rick Grimes is gone. We don't know when Michonne's leaving. We obviously don't know how it's going to happen. It's just we know it's going to happen.
They claim they never meant to do that with like Rick leaving and stuff, but they did. And still, I'm kind of. I don't know, man. I love and I hate it. I feel like, what? We almost might have needed that, though, because, I mean, we have podcasts from a year back where we straight up said there's no way this show is going to survive without Rick. And then further back than that, where we were just hypothesizing Rick leaving. And we're like, there's no way. Like, if he leaves, the show's done.
Yeah.
So they probably knew that most people felt that way. So they were like, you know what, let's do a intentional leak here and give people time to get used to the idea of a Rickless Walking Dead. Because if it's a shock, then you might have some people that just are so mad that they had a big dip in viewership after they pulled the whole cliffhanger bullshit with Negan. Like, people were furious about that. And I mean, so I personally know people that were so furious they've never gone back.
Right.
Season 6 was the last season they've seen of The Walking Dead. So, yeah, people do react off emotion. And if somebody gets out of it for long enough, they just might not go back. So I understand why they did it, even though I hate it. Because those of us that are true fans and will watch the show until it ends, I just imagine how big of a shock that would have been. But then again, you might have been sitting here going, when's Rick coming back? When's Rick coming back?
Yeah.
Ha-ha, he's not.
Yeah.
And the Rick movies. Don't tell us about the Rick. How good. Imagine seeing the trailer for that on television.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that. Like he left in the helicopter, and as far as you know, that's it. And you're sitting there watching TV like a season or two later, just thinking, well, Rick's done. And then you see a trailer for the Rick movies. You know how hype you would get?
Yeah, it's, I don't know, man.
Last night, I'm going to tell you, my girlfriend's never seen me get scared of like a horror movie or anything on screen. And it was funny because last night, I don't know if you caught it, but there was a preview for the Grudge remake.
Yeah, dude, I saw that.
As soon as it came on, I was like, nope. I walked away from dude. I cannot explain how bad the Grudge freaks me out. I mean, you're talking about myself. I sit, and you've seen my basement. I sit in my basement, sometimes dimly lit, folding laundry, or just sitting there drinking a beer, watching horror movies. I've watched every horror movie I can find on Netflix. I enjoy them. They don't really scare me, I guess, because I have the mindset of like, that's a movie, whatever. The Grudge, for some reason, freaks me right the fuck out. And when I saw that, I was like, nope. I wish I could have her here because she was dying laughing. She's like, I have never seen you do that. Like you ran from the TV like a little kid. I was like, nope, I don't. Nope.
So this is a straight up reboot. I've never seen any.
I think it's a reimagining, and I believe it or not, as much as I just described how scared I am, I will go see it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I will. I'm a little man. I hate God. I really do. Like you've seen me more or less. I mean, I try to upkeep some sense of like I'm a man. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to see me go full on 100% bitch, come with me to see The Grudge. I will cover my eyes. I will cover my ears. I don't know why that movie does that to me.
I'm going to go see that one, man. I'm definitely going to go see Terminator Dark Fate. I'm stoked for that. I'll probably see The Joker one more time.
Zombieland Double Tap. We're going to go see that.
We're going to go see that.
Probably do a podcast about that.
Yeah. I actually just saw where like some movie had went to number one on the the movie charts, whatever they called, but Joker's like retaking the number one spot. Like people, it had a resurgence or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But no, man, I'm gonna see that again. I saw some trailer last night for an Edward Norton movie. Did you see that?
Yeah, well, it's got a lot of people in it. It's who else is in that? It's a lot of people in that movie. It's.
I remember liking it, but I can't remember anything about it.
Yeah, let me see. I'll find that while we're talking. But no, yeah, I definitely saw that. There's, like I said, there's a lot of people in that movie. Let's see. What are some new Edward Norton? Somebody's screaming at the computer right now. It's so-and-so.
Yeah, dude. I'm blanking on it, but I just remember seeing it like, oh, my God, I got to go see that.
Motherless Brooklyn. Is that it?
That sounds right, yeah. And again, I can't remember at all what it's.
Yeah, Bruce Willis is in it. William Dafoe's in it.
Oh, dude, I love Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's got a pretty good rating online, I guess, from the people that have already seen it. It's got a pretty good.
Have they already done like screenings for it? I hope it gets a wide release, man.
I guess, but yeah, I guess that's it's basically going to wrap it up.
Yeah, dude, we're starting to talk about movies and stuff, but no, hopefully this week we can see Zombieland, dude. I told you about just to leave you on this. A historic theater in our little town was screening Night of the Living Dead on the big screen Friday night. At least I thought it was the big screen. I go there. I'm in a altered state of mind. I'm high as hell. Anyway, I go in there, and it's just like she's like, go upstairs, and I'm thinking, so we're gonna be watching it on the balcony, and it was just like the creepy dude who owns the place, like little screening room, and I got the hell out of there. I made up an excuse, and I got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely should have put something like private screening or something to allude, because I would have definitely went thinking it was going to be on the big screen, so I can understand how that goes.
Like in high school, I went there and saw Raiders of the Lost Ark on the big screen in this old-fashioned movie theater, and it was awesome, and that's what I thought I was getting into, but that was not what I was getting into.
Next time you see him, we know the guy. Next time you see him, just tell him, like, hey, man, straight up, you need to put that on a big screen. I mean,
dude, he didn't even have like a popcorn popper. Like
really?
He was selling like $2 canned drinks and like nabs and stuff. And
how much was it?
It was $5 for the ticket, which I gladly paid. And I go up there and like I see him walking back and forth, and he's not he wasn't a very congenial host. Like, oh, I'm so glad you could make yourself, like take a look at this.
Not like Ezekiel is in the Barn of Pleasures.
Right. I almost feel like we're getting ready to go to the theater.
Welcome to the Night of the Living Dead, which actually I think the zombie movies don't exist in the Walking Dead universe.
No, I don't, at least not in the.
Welcome to the theater. It's not really the theater. It's just a straight live feed of the Barn of Pleasures.
Right. I would have been down for that, but no, dude, it weirded me out.
Jerry Shiva, Mount old Daryl there.
Yeah. I know. I told you about it, and be glad that you.
I thought about going too.
Yeah, and I know you were doing the stay-at-home dad thing, so your gal could go out and do her thing, and be glad you did, dude, because it was
that Friday night you went?
It was Friday night.
Oh, wow,
That's
yeah.
when you had to get
yeah.
to yeah, the Hocus Pocus party.
Yeah, my girlfriend and her friends did a Hocus Pocus party. And
yeah, well, be glad you didn't stick around, dude, because I didn't stick around either, man. I was out $7 for a ticket and a bottle of water, but yeah, I was
wow.
creeped the fuck out. It was not cool.
On that note, always read the fine print, or if there's not fine print, ask into it, man.
I mean, I just assumed it's a movie theater, so we'll be seeing it on the big screen, but no, it's just a weirdo's man cave.
It's like Borat. We'll see it on the big screen. Not.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Well, we'll catch you on Wednesday for Weird Wednesday, which we will have this week. Last week was a bit busy. Again, we still have full-time gigs that sometimes take up a lot of our time, but definitely we'll do something for Weird Wednesday.
Yes, we will. Maybe even a special guest. Who knows?
That would be wonderful. Also, don't forget about the Patreon exclusive podcast. Go to Patreon, search for The Podcasting Dead, as little as $1 a month. And we probably will start setting up tiers because, I mean, I definitely feel like the people paying $10, $20 a month, they're like, shouldn't we get something special here? But right now, it's everybody has access to everything. So now's the time to throw that $1 or $5 or $10 a month, and you're going to get an extra podcast every week. You're going to get a monthly drawing. Sometimes we throw videos on there. And we are definitely, for the people, I think we had a listener, Chris, asked, when will the videos start? I just told JP last week that I think in the next week or two we should have, our goal should be to have our first successful video podcast. So that's in the works.
And I've seen a prototype. Our T-shirt should be going to print within the week. So yeah, we'll have some T-shirts for the patrons, and we'll do some giveaways just for the regular listeners as well. So
absolutely.
I was actually Dan Ashdown snapped me over the weekend.
He snapped me too.
Yeah, said he
just checking in.
Yeah, and said he would get that merchandise out there. He'll be repping us all over the UK.
Yeah, man, it's so great to have such awesome listeners. Yeah, I mean, he messaged me. Dan sent me a message this weekend, just basically saying, "How you been, man?" Explaining that he's just been so busy, he had a chance to listen to the podcast, but always encouraging, and we love our listeners.
We do.
So we will see you on Wednesday. In the meantime, we got to rate this episode out of 5.
I'll give it you want to throw it out there? I'll give it a solid 4.
I'll give it a solid 4.25.
There you go.
I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was good stuff.
Very much enjoyed it.
Next time, if we see a bunch of zombies, I want to see someone eaten alive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just let zombies do what they do.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to play a hate on the zombies. Let them do what zombies do.
We could lose a few hilltoppers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shit, we could lose the whole, the people beating up on Lydia I'd have been fine with. Mm-hmm. Been great if, they did breach and Lydia's out there helping them fight and one of them gets taken down. And instead of doing the noble thing and saving them, Lydia's like, hell with that. Just lets them get ripped to shreds. But we'll see you on Wednesday. Hopefully, if you're new to the podcast, don't forget, as the fancy guy in the beginning said, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more podcasts and content. And hopefully, we'll see you back here Wednesday. If we don't, and you're only here for The Walking Dead, we'll see you next Monday. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.